We often talk about chemistry, timing, or even fate when it comes to love. But here, that's the truth that gets overlooked. A man doesn't fall in love because of how perfect you are on paper. He doesn't fall because of your looks, your resume, or your availability. He falls in love when he feels something unique in your presence. There's a switch that flips, an emotional trigger that tells him, this is different. She's not like the others. And that feeling doesn't come from chasing, impressing, or pretending to be someone you're not. It comes from one powerful shift in the way you show up. And when you make that shift, he won't just be attracted to you, ... He'll start imagining his future with you. This is what makes a man fall in love. Let's break it down. It's not about being passive or agreeable. It's about creating an environment where he feels he can truly be himself without judgment. When he doesn't have to filter his thoughts, weigh every word, or second-guess his emotions, he begins to relax into the connection. Most men aren't used to emotional safety. They're used to being expected to man up, hold it together, be the strong one. So when he meets someone who doesn't pressure him to perform emotionally, but instead invites honesty, it hits different. He doesn't fall in love with the version of you that's constantly perfect. He falls in love with the version of you that makes him feel accepted even in his imperfection. This is the foundation of emotional intimacy, when he realizes he doesn't have to wear armor around you. You don't need to fix him. You don't need to solve his problems. What you offer instead is a presence that allows him to breathe. When he opens up, listen, not to respond, not to analyze, but just to hear him. That simple act of listening with patience builds something rare: trust. And with trust comes comfort. And with comfort comes vulnerability. And vulnerability, when met with softness instead of judgment, becomes emotional connection. It's not loud. It's not flashy. But it's unforgettable. Because when a man feels safe with you, you become a place he returns to, not one he escapes from. And in a world full of noise, that safety becomes the silence he craves. There's something magnetic about a woman who is warm, but not easy to win over. She's kind, open, and engaging, but she doesn't hand over her heart just because someone shows interest. That kind of woman becomes unforgettable. It's not about being cold or detached. It's about knowing your value and not being afraid to protect it. When a man senses that a woman has her own life, her own rhythm, and her own joy, that's when he becomes curious. Curiosity leads to pursuit. And pursuit is where attraction turns into investment. And that subtle challenge invites the best parts of him to rise. Becomes more intentional with his words, more thoughtful in his actions. Because deep down, men want to earn love they respect. When it's handed to them too easily, they may enjoy it, but they don't treasure it. The woman who challenges him emotionally without drama or ego lights, a spark he doesn't want to lose. She's not challenging him as a person. She's challenging his intentions. And when he realizes he has to show up fully to meet her emotionally, something inside him awakens. He doesn't just want her attention anymore. He starts to crave her respect and wants to earn it. Love isn't built in the grand gestures, it's built in the small investments made over time. When a man invests effort, his time, his energy, his attention, he starts to feel connected. It's not because you demanded it, but because he chose to give it. And when you acknowledge it with genuine appreciation, you give that effort meaning. That meaning deepens his emotional attachment to you. It's not about being overly grateful for the bare minimum. It's about noticing the little things he voluntarily does and letting him feel seen, because appreciation is not weakness, it's reinforcement. When a man sees that his effort matters to you, he wants to keep showing up. That doesn't mean you sit back and do nothing. It means you create space for him to lead sometimes, and then reward that leadership with warmth. Men fall in love when they feel useful, not in a transactional way, but in a purposeful way. When he can contribute to your happiness, he begins to feel essential. That feeling builds a sense of emotional responsibility, not pressure, but purpose. He's not just another guy in your life. He's someone who gets to matter, and that significance makes the bond stronger. Makes him want to invest more, not less. But here's the key. Don't have to repay him by outdoing his effort. You repay him by feeling it, by appreciating it, and by letting him see that who he is enough. Every man has a version of himself he hasn't fully stepped into yet. A version that's more grounded, more purposeful, more whole. Most people only see the current version. They react to the flaws, the mistakes, the history. But when a woman sees his potential, not as fantasy, but as possibility, shifts something in him. She doesn't ignore who he is now. She simply believes in who he can become. Belief is powerful. When a man feels believed in, he starts rising to meet that vision. Because suddenly someone sees through the layers. Not just who he's been, but who he's capable of becoming. This isn't about trying to fix or change him. It's about inspiring growth through acceptance. When you speak to the man he could be with confidence and encouragement, you plant seeds he doesn't even realize are taking root. He starts to hold himself to a higher standard, not because you forced him, but because you awakened it in him. You reflect his best self back to him, even before he fully becomes it. That kind of reflection is rare, and it's magnetic. He won't forget how you made him feel, not for who he was, but for who he was becoming. Love built on potential isn't naive, it's visionary, when grounded in real connection. And when he feels that vision from you, he doesn't just feel love, he feels called to be the man who deserves it.